Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records. I wanted to talk about the announcement that Paul Rodgers is not going to even go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony this weekend. Bad Company finally, after years and years and years of being eligible, 25 plus years of being eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they're finally in. But Paul Rodgers, who's had some health issues, is not going to go because he says he needs to prioritize his health. It was said last week that maybe he and Simon Kirk, the only two surviving members of Bad Company, were going to perform a couple songs. Paul has had some serious health issues. He's had 11 minor strokes and 2 major strokes in the last decade. He had to learn how to relearn how to walk and talk. He has clarified, says, I feel good. I feel very good. My health is great. I'm off all the drugs. No more Stanton and Ramipril. It's good to get off that stuff and just get back to healthy, eating healthy and exercise. He's being inducted along with Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. The White Stripes get it immediately, and Soundgarden gets in pretty much immediately, and Bad Company doesn't, because it doesn't check the boxes for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mick Ralphs is now dead. He died, last year? He would have enjoyed getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he doesn't. Bad Company was formed in 1973 out of remnants of Free, which is also an incredibly influential rock band. Mick Ralphs comes over from Mont the Hoople. Boz Burrell comes over from King Crimson. You have a 4-piece unit band. They signed to Swan Song Records, which is Led Zeppelin's label. Right out of the box, they could release in 1974 the album Bad Company, which has the following songs on it: Can't Get Enough, Ready for Love, Moving On, and Bad Company. So you have 4 bona fide classics, and Rocksteady, 5 bona fide classics on the first album. The next year, in 1975, they put Straight Shooter out. That's got Good Lovin' Gone Bad and Feel Like Making Love. And Shooting Star. So now we got 8 classics, right? The next year, they got Run with the Pack. That's got the title track, Running with the Pack, on it. This band did nothing but produce hits. Burning Sky came out in 77. Maybe that didn't have the big hits that the other ones, but it's still a damn good album. Desolation Angels in 1979 with songs like Rock and Roll Fantasy and Gone, Gone, Gone. And then finally Rough Diamonds released in 82. Before they take a long hiatus, Paul Rodgers goes to The Firm, who do a couple albums. It's just an absolute shame that you can't get a band like this into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, people are healthy enough to enjoy it, healthy enough to be able to go and do it. Instead, we're not going to have Paul Rodgers performing. Many consider Paul Rodgers to be the great singer of his generation. He influenced Ronnie Van Zant, his vocal delivery style. All Right Now by Free. How hard would it have been just to go ahead and induct Free also? With Free, you're going to get Paul Kossoff in and Andy Frazier. Influential people. Just put Free and Bad Company at the same time. That's how important Paul Rodgers. Paul Rodgers goes on to work with Brian May and Queen. Does an absolute album with Queen. called The Cosmos Rocks, which came out in 2008. Toured stadiums with Queen. The man deserves more credit than waiting until he's 75 years old before you put him in a rock hall. And by the way, they don't treat these guys well in these ceremonies. They make them pay their own way. They don't bring them in like kings of what they did for a living. They make them and their family pay for all their stuff. And it's a pain in the ass. And I'm on Paul Rodgers. I sit back and watch it from home and let some other guy sing my song because that ship sailed for me. I need to take care of my health, my family. And I don't need to show up there and, sing for these people. I think it's sad that we've taken this long to let this band in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everybody had 10 from 6 when I was growing up on cassette, which was the greatest hits package for Bad Company. 10 great classic songs from 6 albums. Shame on you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then you let Chevy Chucker in, who was a novelty act. You let Cyndi Lauper in, who isn't really rock and roll. You let Outkast in, who's not rock and roll. You let the White Stripes in. Yeah, maybe the White Stripes deserve it, but they don't need to get in immediately upon forming. It's just ridiculous. Forming or being 25 years since your first album. Was it exactly 25 years? They were so influential playing the blues. Were they that influential? Just basically modernizing the blues with a fuzzy guitar tone. Didn't do much for me. Those are just my thoughts. Check out my channel. We only talk about great music here every day on Intersection Records. Peace out. See ya.